I wake up. Just kidding. I don't know. That song just popped into my head.
Are you serenading?
That's like from the beginning.
Where is that from?
Well, it's an old song from like the 50s or 60s or something. One of those Supremes type groups. But, and I'm so sorry, listeners, if you know which group it is, and I just totally like blew past that. But it was also used in my best friend's wedding.
I have not seen that movie.
Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, and the guy.
Not Dylan McDermott.
Yes.
It's not Dylan McDermott.
It is.
It's Dermot Mulrooney, isn't it?
Is it?
It's Dermot.
I get them mixed up.
I think most of America does.
Mulrooney? I don't know.
Well, if we don't pronounce it correctly, he's not going to come after us.
This is the stupidest thing we could be talking about right now.
Dermot
Mulroney.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care.
He was super cute back then.
But he's not now.
I mean, I guess
he's like a troll now.
But he's older.
Kidding.
No, he
was
young then.
He was, but he was like an old man young. You know what I mean? How some people, even when they're young, they look a little bit like old men.
You're right.
But
I was attracted to him when I was a kid.
Yeah, but you like a mature.
No, I didn't. I liked Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic and Romeo and Juliet when he looked like
a baby.
He was like 16 or something.
Okay, point taken.
Of course, I was 8 years old, so it's okay.
So he was an old soul to you,
I guess. So.
If you're 8 and he's okay, now it's
a little, but it still was. We both were below 18. Actually, he was not below 18 because he was actually older than 18 because he looks young, but
he looks like
an old.
He looks like an old baby.
Baby. Don't you think?
I do think he does. It's like I see those trailers for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm like, that baby needs a nap. But I'm excited about that movie. It's coming out soon.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
The 24th, I think.
That about again?
Are you serious?
I forgot what it is.
Okay. I don't fully know all the details because no one does. But I do know. So it's about Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt play. So Leonardo DiCaprio is like a has-been actor. Like he's like a TV actor who's like career's on the downcline. I don't even know what that is. And Brad Pitt is like his stunt double / best friend.
Okay.
They live right next door to Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski.
Oh, it's
in
about
the late 60s.
The Manson murders, right?
Well, it is and it isn't. I think it's about Hollywood in that time.
Okay.
But it's also, yes, he's like his star is on the decline, her star is on the incline, and then at some point, yes, the Manson family is part of the story as well. And you know how obsessed I am with the Manson family.
I do know.
So we acknowledge Quentin Tarantino is a problematic figure at times. Certainly.
Oh, he's the director.
Yes, Quentin Tarantino is the writer-director. And yes, and if for more on that, you can check out our episode from last season on the Feminine Mistake podcast, where we talk about Quentin Tarantino and Uma Thurman and the whole wreck on the set of Kill Bill and all that. But this, I still.
So it's a problematic director doing a movie about a problematic director. Just kidding. Roman Polanski.
Yes, yeah, but I don't think Roman Polanski's Roman Polanski's a rapist.
Yes,
first of all, but I don't believe the movie's about him. Anyway, so I just want to acknowledge that Quentin Tarantino has some problems.
Yep.
I do, despite that, find myself I've always loved his films.
Mm-hmm.
And I will definitely go see this.
Yeah, me too.
I don't watch Roman Polanski's films because
Rosemary's Baby.
He's a fucking rapist.
I know.
I have seen Rosemary's Baby. I've seen Chinatown. I don't watch Woody Allen's films either anymore, which I have seen.
I've seen a bunch of them, but yeah.
I mean, I know there's that whole like let's separate the man from the artist thing.
Yeah.
And I fully acknowledge. And Quentin Tarantino has said and done some shady things, so I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge the fact that I continue to support his work. He's not a Harvey Weinstein or a Roman Polanski, but there are varying degrees of shitty, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I do. I can't sit down and watch a Woody Allen movie. I can't. I just can't. I can't do it.
Well, I mean,
he's insufferable.
When we watched Annie Hall, which was regarded as one of his best films, if not his best film, and I was like, seriously, like it's so like misogynist and so,
I think
like,
you can see all of that in there, like all the things about him being.
There were some
problematic or like
pedophile jokes.
That are like embedded in the film. Yeah. Anyway, I just forgot what I was going to say, but this was also leading me. Again, not to compare this person to Roman Polanski or Woody Allen, but you know Aziz Ansari has a new special on Netflix.
No, I haven't seen.
But it just came out.
Okay.
I mean, as of this recording, of course.
Okay.
We are recording on July 12th.
Yeah,
I believe.
Okay.
Are we?
Maybe.
Is this 2018 or is this 2020?
This is 2023.
Time flies.
Yes.
Have we solved sexism yet?
Yes.
Oh,
actually.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
You yourself did.
I did.
Single-handedly. You
pat myself on the back for that.
Yes. You just killed every man. No,
I kidding.
Just kidding.
That may be the only way. And some of okay.
Yeah,
all right.
No.
We're not. Anyway, are you going to watch? I know you're on a stand-up kick right now. Are you going to watch it?
I'm going to watch the fuck out of it. No, I think that
I hear he talks about it in the stand-up,
which
show.
He should, and it's good. Like
For those of you who don't know, of course, Aziz Ansari came under fire last year. It feels like a million years ago
or something. Yeah.
Maybe. It was during the Me Too movement. A woman who had a date with him wrote an article about her experience and how she had this awkward date with him where she felt pressured to have sex or oral sex, I think it was. And it made her very uncomfortable. And so it made us all kind of question that gray area of like, well, is it consent if you feel like you're pressured to do it and then in the moment and like and so we're all like sort of questioning what our boundaries are in the way men are taught that it's okay to act on a date and women are taught to act in response to that. And so like again, like not to put Aziz Ansari in like the Roman Polanski bucket. He's not in that bucket.
No, he's not.
But it definitely made us question some things, and I think he did disappear from the public eye for a while, which was a smart idea, I think. Yeah. And now he's got a new stand-up special where he talks about it and other things. And
I think that every guy who has had sexual relationships, and possibly some women too, I think we're talking about consent, right?
Yes.
This is a really big topic, a big important topic.
I think I think that event kind of stirred up.
Yeah, and how
discussion
the
that
gray
needed to
area.
Happen. Yeah, the gray area.
Like the first two boyfriends I had, our first sexual encounters were, they moved faster than I wanted to move, but I'm a people pleaser, and so I didn't feel comfortable saying no. But I didn't use my feeling uncomfortable saying no as saying, oh, it was definitely rape. Like
right. And I think a lot of women can relate to that.
Yeah. And so, and I'm not saying that this woman was wrong. Her experience was very real for her, and it was her experience and valid. Yeah, but absolutely. I think that everyone, if not everyone who is sexually active, has had experiences where they weren't on the same exact page as the person they were having sex with throughout the entire encounter. That's just part of sex. And
but I also feel like I wish we lived in a world where people could just say no or
Yeah.
set their boundaries. And
Yeah.
and I think women are taught to ignore those feelings.
Yes.
And I think that that's an important part of what that conversation was about, was that like you can leave feeling humiliated
Yeah.
and violated.
Yeah.
Not because someone, not because someone necessarily, I'm trying to like
Yeah.
walk a line here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like there may not have been a physical
Force
there, but there's there's societal force and there's like
this
emotional force.
Yeah.
And,
this
and not stopping when you try to send people signals and they keep going, like there's a whole range of things.
Yeah.
And, so it would be great to live in a world where we could just say, you know what, I've had a really great time and I think I'd just like to watch a movie with you, or I'm going to go home now, but like, let's, let's talk, hang out again or whatever. And that would be okay. And no matter what point you are in that, making out or whatever it is that you're doing, you know?
Yeah, and I guess for me, like those first two relationships, like I felt bad about myself not having the guts to stand up for myself and say like not yet, Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us have gone through that, and I feel like
I think it's pretty. I hear from common experience that,
and I hear
share.
from guys that like I know that there are a lot of guys that don't really understand how we feel, I guess, like, or they don't not understand how we feel, but they are not as good as picking up on very minute clues and hints.
Well, I think they're also trained to ignore.
Yes, that's true.
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask.
Honey.
I'm putting honey in my tea while I talk about this incredibly serious topic.
Yes.
Look at that luscious
Perfect.
Honey.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think men are taught to ignore those signs. Like they're taught to keep pushing forward. Yeah. And so it's this culture of women being told that they're the ones who have to say no, and men being the ones that are told not to listen to no. Anyway, we all know this, and I hope that talking about it and how it really impacts people this in a very negative and traumatic way will maybe change that culture.
And I think how we started this conversation was by saying that Aziz Ansari is not the same as like
definitely
what's his fucking face
Roman Polanski or
Woody
Allen
Weinberg
or Harvey Weinstein or any of that.
Weinberg. Why did it say Weinberg?
I don't know. So somewhere out there's a Harvey Weinberg going, it's not me. I didn't do it.
Oh my gosh. You can't equate them.
No, but there's a continuum.
Yes.
And even people that we love and respect and know that are in our lives right now that we love are part of that toxic continuum.
And have made mistakes themselves probably.
Yes. And so it's something we need to talk about so that we can make this better for the young women that are coming up in the younger generation.
Yeah.
Pausing to take a thoughtful sip of my tea.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Today I am drinking Lavender Sunset.
Nobody cares. I'm just kidding.
So
I care.
I'm deeply saddened.
No, Nicole, I'm joking.
It's fine. I was gonna make a whole shtick about my tea and tie it in.
Let's go back.
No, it's fine.
I was just doing a dumb voice. I like your slurping.
Ugh, I almost choked myself.
Oh no.
In the service of that bit.
Lavender
Sunset, or from the Tupelo Tea Company.
Oh.
And this honey is also Georgia made. It is made in my neighborhood, in fact. I live in Oakhurst, Georgia.
Are there bees?
In Oakhurst, there's bees everywhere, from what I understand.
Like bee?
Oh, yeah.
Bee people?
Well, bee people. Bee people. I just imagine them walking around covered in bees. It's like my husband's worst nightmare. No, this is people in town all over the Atlanta have, because, people have hives and whatnot. And this is honey that was made in my neighborhood by a neighbor.
Wow.
And Chris. Yeah, so I was working yesterday, feeling a little stressed, feeling a little bit of the stress. And I work in a garoffice. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but I have a garoffice. We have a house that is too small for our family, but we are grateful to have it. It is something we can afford, which is not, I think, common in these days in the city of Atlanta. And we love our house, but it does not really have enough room for my husband and I to have our own office in the house, which both of us work from home a lot of times. So we have a garoffice, meaning half of the garage is an office. So my husband opens up the door to the garoffice, like the garage door part of the garoffice, and hops on his bike. And I'm like, "Where are you going, babe?" And he's like, I'm bringing back a gift for you."
Oh.
And he sped off. And when he returned, he had 2 jars of this Oakhurst honey.
That is a lot of honey.
I know. Well, I will
get so many bees.
I'm not really sure anatomically how this works. But I do like the idea that maybe this honey that I'm drinking right now in my tea, maybe some of the bees that made this honey, maybe their butts touch some of my flowers.
Well,
it's kind of cool.
Isn't it saliva?
I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about bees.
I will say I thought of a great bumper sticker for bee people. I've got hives.
I love that. That's great. We should sell those. So before we get into today's topic, which is...
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, we should do the song.
Wait.
Stranger Things. We're going to be talking about Stranger Things 3.
What is this podcast even?
What is this podcast? Oh my God. Welcome to the Georgia Made podcast. I just got so excited about talking about this honey that I didn't even tell you. Welcome to the Georgia Made podcast, a podcast that's not about honey, but it should be. It's actually a podcast on film and filmmaking in Georgia, and I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm Sarah, a different host.
Different host, same podcast.
Yes.
Different chair. We're not sharing a chair.
2 hosts, 1 podcast.
2 hosts, 1 podcast. Oh my God.
Sorry.
No, I love that. And today we're going to be talking about Stranger Things 3.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about Stranger Things 3 for the next 4 episodes, I think, because
Yes.
we're probably going to cover about 2 episodes a episode. But before we get to that, we want to talk about the Women in Film Summit.
That was so great.
That we went to. When was that? That was a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
End of June?
Yes.
June-ish? It was in a June time?
June-ish.
It was a June time.
Yeah.
So the Women in Production Summit we attended with some other pals.
Yes.
And it was an all-day event put on, I think, by WIFTA, certainly. WIFTA, GPP, the usual suspects.
Yes.
And it was like an all-day event where there were different like speakers and panels talking about different aspects of film in Georgia.
Yeah.
All women, except for that one dude.
He insisted on sitting on our row.
Okay, so first of all, it was at Georgia Public Television.
Yes.
Which it's great. It's awesome that they offered up the space. The event was awesome. But as a comedian, I would be remiss if I did not comment on the fact that everyone had to basically like spelunk their way down an incredibly steep
and there were a lot of
decline
of women in heels too, like
women in the tallest heels I've ever seen. So the entrance was like at the back of like a stadium seating essentially, and one by one you would see as women arrived the look of horror on their faces. They realized they had to like rappel down these stairs to get to.
There were almost some near slips.
There were some near slips.
Actual slips.
There were some. Yeah, it was intense. So Sarah and I sat near the top of the cliff.
Yes, near the top.
Because Julie Jones-Ivy was joining us, and so we wanted to be like near the top. And so I sat on the aisle because I'm an aisle sitter. That's what I do.
Yes.
And so this guy came in. So there's all women. First, so it's like cool. It's like this cool energy in the room where you just like, you don't often find yourself in a space that's like all women, especially when you're at like some kind of production event. It's usually like, still a very male-dominated arena. And this was like a whole room full of powerful ass women from different parts of the industry. And so much so that when this man arrived in our space, I was a little confused.
Yeah.
Like maybe he had wandered into the wrong room. And then I was like, well, maybe he's just like wants to be here because he cares about women in the industry. Like I wasn't really sure what was going on, but
he insisted on sitting on our row. Like there were lots of rows.
And of course
there
we're on
were
the
lots
aisle,
of seats.
so
and
we
he
had
was
to
like,
get up.
No, I'll just sit right there.
And we're like, well, we're like holding a seat for someone, and he's like, that's fine. I'm gonna sit right here. And I was like, suddenly bristling.
Yeah,
because I was like, first of all, this day is not about you.
Yeah.
Sir. And then he proceeded to get out his tablet, his laptop, and type
away
as loudly as possible right next to Sarah.
I was like, fuck no.
We're not really sure where. And then he stayed for what, two speakers? And then he was gone.
Yeah.
So he did not stay for the whole day. He popped in, made everyone get up and accommodate him, and then left abruptly in the middle of the second speaker, I think.
Yeah.
So we're not really sure what he was doing there. Maybe he didn't get what he was looking for, but
wrote something about it, or maybe
we heard he may have been pressed.
He was a student or something, and this was like for credit. You have to
he
write
seemed
something.
older than a student.
Okay.
I mean, I guess grad students can be any age, but we heard a rumor that maybe he was some sort of press representative.
Yeah.
To which my next question is there no woman on your staff you could have sent to cover this event? Anyway,
definitely.
I don't want to make this about him. But we had to bring him up.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about. We're not going to talk about the whole thing because it was like a 9-hour day, but it was really great, and it was a good feeling to be there, listening to all these women talk about what their experiences were, and what they were doing, and there were just like women in the audience, and everybody was there, and we're like, fuck yeah, production, we're killing it here in Georgia, you know?
Yeah.
But some of the highlights, so of course, I think the big winner at the beginning was they had Mo Ivy come on to talk about the HB 481 bill and what she actually went into what it is, what it does, what it doesn't do, and how the ACLU and so forth are what their plan is for proceeding with,
and how it's
getting
not
that law
a
overturned.
Death sentence. It's not like the end of the world, like right now. Like there's still things we can do. There's still things like choices we can make, and it's not like we shouldn't jump to like
what. Don't freak out. Don't hit the panic button.
Don't hit the panic button. Yes, I mean it's still bad.
Yes,
but she was
the
like,
law is bad, but it hasn't taken effect
Yes.
yet, and so she kind of explained like. Basically, like, here's what the law is. Here's why it's scary because it's kind of not specific about some of these other things where we're not sure who's going to get prosecuted for what. And also, of course, how they're planning to go about and fighting that law so that it doesn't come to pass.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was really interesting. That went, I think they went over their time because the women in the room wanted to know. And at one point she was like, well, I'm sort of past my time. And the women in the audience were like, keep going. We don't care what's next. We want to hear what you have to say about this because it's something that affects all of us. Yeah.
And I think that
one of my notes here is this is terrifying.
Yeah.
That's literally one of my notes.
Well, I think that she also spoke about how not as many people are leaving or will leave as we fear.
Yes, I think that's a general thing that I've heard at a lot of these panels. I've been to a couple of things, not just panels, but just like film, at networking events where people are like, hey, it seems grim, but it's not as grim as you think, you know. There are still people here filming. There's lots of stuff filming over the summer. My work hasn't slowed down. Now I don't work on these big shows, but I've certainly been busy. I'm busier now than I was last summer. Last summer I had a whole 2 months where I just there wasn't a whole lot of work coming in, but now anyway. Okay. So some other things, let's see. PGA was there. There were some representatives from the different unions talking about why they're from the local 700, which is the cinematography union, just kind of talking, and SAG, and what unions are for and why people want to join them. And also there were some folks up there. I'm trying to remember what part of the panel this was because my notes are a little scrambled here, but there were some people, I believe they were talking about the tax incentive. So there were some talks about that. which I think the big problem with the tax incentive for people like us, like you and me, Sarah, like smaller filmmakers, is like the budget has to be at least $500,000 for you to get any of these tax incentives, and we just don't work in that.
Yeah,
like we don't work in that realm. So if you're an indie filmmaker, even and you're making a feature and your feature's 75,000 or 50,000 or even 150,000, you're not going to be even 250,000. You're not going to be getting any of these incentives that these bigger companies are getting. So I think some people feel a little salty about that. That there's really no help. But there's also not a lot of help from the state in terms of like funding for filmmakers that reside here, like creating content here. Like there's other cities where I think there's more grants and mentorship and artist residencies. Like San Francisco has artist residencies, and there's just like not a lot of that stuff here. Like a lot of indie filmmakers are kind of like made to. I mean, there are some grants. There's like Idea Capital, which is like a Georgia-based grant. Of course, Film Impact Georgia, which recently formed to help solve this problem, is at this very moment deciding who's going to get their $5,000 grant for short filmmakers. But there's a lot of work from the state in terms of trying to foster content creators here, and I think that's a sticking point for a lot of people. And they kind of laid out for us like that phase one is like the incentives, getting the incentives pans. Phase two is getting the infrastructure for education, which there's a lot of training available now.
Which you work at one of those places.
Right. So I work at a place that is part of that. Phase three is businesses and infrastructure. So building up the studio spaces and the prop houses. And so now there's like tons of studios here. And then supposedly phase 4 is supporting content creation. That's what we're hearing. And I'd like to know how.
The writers and the producers and the directors being here.
Right. So like I want to know how that's happening. Like I'd like to see that. Like I do see smaller organizations like Film Impact Georgia working at that. And I see people like us, and not just us, but like people, you know, independent content creators out there who are making their own work. You know, like Drama Inc. has been producing a lot of stuff. We've talked about Problematic Productions.
Picture It Productions.
They're trying to get that going.
And there was one place that there had a space.
Yes, I'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah. And Dad's Garage, obviously they're making, you know, like people are making stuff. But I'd like to see how if there's any plan for a larger, more financially powerful entity to come in and help support some of that, because the thing is, it's not like there aren't people here writing. It's not like there aren't talented people here, you know, ready to make shit happen. It's just like we're funding this money out of our pocketbooks. Like we're pulling this money out of under our couch cushions, trying to scrape this shit together. And like, yes, we're all applying for these grants that are national, international grants are available to everyone. We're doing crowdfunding campaigns. We're applying to whatever grants are available here for Georgia filmmakers, but there's just not a lot of support, I think. Yeah. So I'd like to see how that goes forward, you know, to help foster that. But the woman you're referring to is Kim Ledford.
Yeah.
Aru Studios.
Yeah.
So they purchased Tyler Perry's old studio, which he has since left to. He purchased an even bigger space, a larger space. They've got a bigger studio, and now Kim Ledford is running this studio where they're sort of they're looking to produce, fund, and distribute content by women and artists of color. So obviously, we were very interested in what she had to say. Sounds a bit like Picture It. It sounded a bit like that first time we went to Picture It and heard what they were trying to get off the ground. It seems, of course, they're also interested in doing some gaming and VR and other stuff as well. But I'm definitely keeping my eye out on what's going on over there. And it sounds like they'll be taking some pitches. At some point later in the year when they get that system, when they get a system down for accepting pitches, is what she said. So I'm definitely interested in that. Also, I liked her personality. She was cool. Very funny. So keep an eye out for Aru Studios. They're on the old Tyler Perry Studios space. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
I thought that the brand
the branded content.
Branded content was great.
That was an excellent. That was 1X Studios.
Okay.
And they do branded content, meaning that they do video, like web series and stuff that like integrates brands into it. And so they talked a lot about how to do that while retaining a creative vision and how to work on it with a team. And also just like there was an element of, I believe, bringing your A game at all times, I think, and how you can do that. Yeah, there were a lot of good quotes from there. Like, what you say no to is just as important as what you say yes to in terms of the work that you take on. I think that's really smart.
Yeah, they had a very sharp presentation where they had some like skit type things.
Yeah, by the end of the day, you're getting a little tired. You've seen a lot of people talk. You're feeling sleepy. You're getting a little bit lightheaded from being up in the mountains, the nosebleed seats. And here they come on, and they're doing skits and stuff, and they had like a visual element to their presentation. So it was good. You can see that they put a lot of thought into
engaging. I think my favorite though was the last one of the night.
Oh, the independent filmmaker.
Yes.
Yes. So that was Ingrid Vinegar, Punk Films.
Yes.
And she talked about a lot of stuff. I think what was interesting to me is that she like incorporated her kids into some of her films as a way of spending more time with them, because as a filmmaker, sometimes you find yourself away at weird locations away from your family. And that also, obviously, the big highlight of her discussion was how they created this like program where they were like giving filmmakers $1,000 to make a feature. They're like, go make a feature for $1,000 and we'll screen them at this theater in town. Yeah. And then that led to this work with Melissa Leo, where Melissa Leo gave them $6,000 to basically have like a writer's summit once a month.
6 screenplays.
Right. Yeah. 6 women getting together, writing screenplays. And each month, one of the women would take turns sort of running the meeting and creating a whole experience in their town for the other women. And it sounded amazing. And I'd love to do something like that with Critical Crop Top at some point.
And we could make a film about it.
And then we could make a film about it. And then we would just like content. I don't know, like the idea of making a film for $1,000 sounds utterly terrifying.
Yeah.
I guess you just wouldn't be able to pay anyone, really.
No.
You would be able to pay for props.
You wouldn't be able to pay for anything.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Everything for free.
You'd have to get everything for free, which there is definitely merit in that. I'm not hating on free stuff. It's just, wow, like that's like you're asking for some big favors. Like you got to have a stockpile of favors.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's better than not making your film at all, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, every film requires some favors of some kind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if, Marvel Studios ever has to ask for favors. Maybe they do, but definitely when you're at our level, even when you have some money, you're still asking for favors. Anyway, so all in all, it was a good day. It was an enjoyable event. Anything else to say about that?
They had delicious samosas.
Yeah, their after event food was quite delicious.
Yes.
They even had vegan.
Yes, they did.
I'm still doing the vegan, by the way.
She went there being like, oh, well, they're not going to have anything for vegan, so I'm just going to cheat today. And they had vegan options.
I was able to continue veganing.
Yeah.
So I was pleased about that. Yeah, so it was a good event. Looking forward to next year. Definitely going to go.
I wish that we could go to the WIFTA, what is that, showcase?
Are we not?
It's July 29th, which is the Women at Play.
Oh, yeah. No, we can't do that. Yeah. We'll be
performing. Well, I won't be performing. I'll be performing. I'll be.
Oh, yeah. That's something we're doing right now is the 1 Minute Play Fest.
Yes.
You're directing.
I'm directing.
We both wrote something.
And you're acting.
I'm acting. A lot of people from past Critical Crop Top shows, writing, directing, and other people from the beautiful thing about the 1 Minute Play Festival, and we've talked about it on our show, the Feminine Mistake podcast before, but the 1 Minute Play Festival is like a national, is it international? Do they ever do it overseas?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, in any case, they do it in cities all over the country, and it's like the entire community gets together, and everybody, there's 60 plays, so 60 playwrights have written a 1 minute play. Mm-hmm. Those plays then get divided up amongst 10 directors who each have an ensemble of actors who perform those plays. Mm-hmm. And then it's performed at Actors Express.
Collaborative, fun, thing. And like I first got involved with like just going to see my friends in it, and it was just such an exciting show to see, because it's like each play is just so quick, but it's like a whole story is told, and you're just like,
it's a real emotional ride.
It is.
Because like everything goes by so fast that you're feeling an emotion, and just as you're processing that, you're moving on to the next play. But all the clumps are kind of put together so that they each sort of have a same feeling or theme or something. People tend to write about a lot of stuff that like can be grouped together.
Yeah. It's kind of like taking the what's the word?
It's like a word board or a mood board or
the
mental mood board of playwright.
Something consciousness, like
the collective unconscious. Yes, it is a bit like, like the collective unconscious. I would definitely say so. So we've been doing that.
Yeah.
We also finished our film.
The parts that stay have stayed.
They've stayed. They stayed. They've gone. No, they're still, we're submitting to festivals now.
Yes.
So it hasn't screened yet. I'm hoping that the first screening will be in 2020 when the new festival season rolls around. So, but we're
Super
basically
excited.
done unless we decide to tweak something, I guess.
Shown anyone yet. We haven't shown the cast or the crew or.
No, we haven't shown it. It will be revealed at its first festival screening.
Yes.
So excited about that, but it feels good to be done.
I've already emailed it to everyone I know.
Oh,
sorry.
I projected it on the wall. You know that large brick wall right outside the MARTA station at the Martin Luther King.
You just set your laptop up there and your projector.
I got my projector up. No one watched it. They were too busy.
So technically, it hasn't screened yet.
That's true. Okay. Nobody.
It only screens if someone sees it. If there's no one's there to watch it.
That's a good point. Then,
just like a
then
tree
did it happen
that
at
falls
all?
in the forest and no one's there to hear it.
That describes a lot of my films, I feel like. So shall we? But I don't want to brush past that. Like, that's exciting. We did finish a film. We began talking about doing it last summer, and then we ended up I ended up doing a big sketch show. So we ended up pushing it off till this year, and we shot it in March.
In 4 months.
Yeah, we shot it in March, and it's
from pre-production to now 4 months.
It's pretty bitchin', honestly. And I feel really good about how it turned out.
I feel very good about it. Yeah.
I feel honored to have worked with the people that we did, and it was an amazing experience. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with the world.
I loved working with you on it.
I loved working with you.
I loved working with Patrick and Julie and Kat and Johnny, and
it was an
amazing
team.
Yeah,
it was a really amazing team. It was one of those things that just like felt really smooth, and everybody worked really well together. And if I could bottle that lightning and use it every single time I'm on set, like I think I could just make movies every day. It was so good.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you don't have to be a good leader. Whether you're a director or an AD, or you're a boss at, like, you're a doctor, or a lawyer, a marketing executive, no matter who you are, like, you can do things, you can get things done, you can direct people and lead without being a dick.
Yeah, everybody can have a good time, surprisingly. Yeah. Everyone can have a good time.
And still get great work done.
Do amazing work and still like each other afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we've always tried to run our sets that way. Like we've always tried to live by that philosophy. And that's why I love working with the people we work with so much. Yeah. So it's not like this is the only time. Like, I feel like I usually feel like that after we're done.
All the stuff that Critical Cropped Up has worked on so far.
Yeah, I've never left a Critical Cropped Up set feeling like, wow, what a bunch of assholes. Like I think we try to surround ourselves with people that share that attitude, where it's like, let's get together and be cool and make something we like, and everybody treats each other nicely.
Yeah.
That's the kind of environment I like. I do not like to be on a set where everything's high stress and there's lots of yelling and egos, and it's like I know that people can get work done that way, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think it's necessary.
And if I'm stressed, I will, like, hide it. Like I won't like project it onto everyone I'm around.
Yeah, that's good. Bottle it up inside. It's healthy.
Well, I'm not saying you should bottle it up inside. I'm just saying like there's
but don't throw it into other people's faces. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, this was a real dream team. I feel like the film is really beautiful. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. Yeah. And it feels good to have this done and begin submitting it to festivals and see what life it's going to have.
Yeah.
And we're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
With TBD. Well, not TBD, TBA.
TBA.
It's not TB.
Determined?
It's not TBD because we have
announced.
We've determined it.
Okay, we've determined it,
but we haven't because we haven't had a production meeting yet.
Let's name it something where it TBA are the initials. So like
so the
PTS,
film is
the parts
called
that stay.
TBD.
TBD.
That's the name of the film. No, we know we've discussed what the next project is, but we haven't had a production meeting. I've sort of taken July was supposed to be like a month off quotation marks where I was like working but like downshifting a little bit, and it has not been that. But we are not currently in pre-production for something, but we will be soon.
I'm in pre-production.
You're in pre. I feel like I'm in pre-production as well. I'm preparing to be in pre-production. Shall we talk about today's topic?
Let's do it. I can't wait to talk about Stranger Things with you.
It's been so hard not to keep watching episodes.
I know.
So Sarah and I have watched the first 4 episodes, which we are now going to in one night. My fucking husband fell asleep like halfway through. He watched episode 2. I did go back and watch 3 and 4 with him again, though. Yeah. So I've actually seen those episodes twice because Chris fell asleep. And as his wife, one of my duties is to watch Stranger Things with him in its entirety.
Yes, it's in your wills. I mean, it's
after my death. You have to watch it with my corpse. You have to set me up in like Weekend at Bernie style in the Barca Lounger with a LaCroix in my hand.
Oh my God.
So we watched the first 4 episodes. And we deliberately only watched 4 because we knew we would only have time to talk about 4 at this recording.
Yes.
And then we're planning to watch the next 4 because we wanted to leave it with us like in our innocent feeling about whatever we were feeling up to this point. We didn't want to have any kind of like foresight
be like,
into the next 4 episodes.
Not talk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, shall we dig in?
Shall we?
Let me get to my notes here because I took an extensive amount of notes about this. And I'm not going to get through all of them, obviously, but I definitely want to.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, I have these broken up by episode.
Season 3, chapter 1, Susie, do you copy?
That's right. Susie, do you copy? Which is a fun... I mean, I always like the... Okay, here we go. Before we get into the episode, there was a lengthy recap, which I just want to point out that our pal Alex Van, who was in season 2 and was utterly destroyed by a flaming squirrel, made it into the recap.
He did.
I was like, hell yeah, Alex Van, way to make it into the recap. I wonder if he's going to see a check for that. Probably not. I don't think Netflix pays residuals. Okay. So episode 1. Susie, do you copy?
Yes.
I guess we'll just kind of go through a couple of things. So this one it begins with 1984.
Yes.
And immediately I was thinking, so they're now in or at least it begins in 94. I think the majority of the action takes place in 85. But so there's been like a aesthetic shift away from this like early 80s, late 70s look. Mm-hmm. Where we're now into the full 80s, where we're like malls and neon colors and like jumpsuits and big hair, and I am loving it.
Yes,
I love the 80s aesthetic.
Yes,
I would wear Eleven's outfits, like that jumpsuit, that like neon-y jumpsuit that she gets.
So cute.
I was like, where can I get one of those in my size? So it opens in 84, and immediately I'm thinking about like the movie A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was
it came out that year, right?
Came out in 1984. So, and as this show goes on, and we'll talk about this, I feel like there are nods to that movie that I saw, and I noticed them even more watching the 3rd and 4th episode the second time.
Okay, I've only seen it once.
The third and fourth episode.
No, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, we should watch it.
Okay.
I love that movie.
I think I like. Is it the third one that's
The
in
effects are a little cheesy in places now.
Which
but
one's the mental hospital one?
That's Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
3, yeah.
1 and 3 are the best.
I like 3.
3's great.
I like 3. Yeah.
I also love 1. I love them all for their own reasons, but those 2 I think are probably the best. Okay.
Anyway.
So where do we start? What's the most important thing to talk about, you think? What is the most important thing to talk about when we talk about Stranger Things 3?
Well, so it starts out in Russia. There's a whole like tying what's going on.
Yes.
In their
There's
town
a bit of a
with
Red
what's
Dawn
going
thing
on
going on, yes.
In Russia. With the same kind of what is it called? The Upside Down?
Yeah. So it seems like the Russians are trying to open up a hole into, we assume. Actually, we honestly, at this point, 4 episodes in, I don't really know what they're doing, but I feel like they're trying to open up a portal to what we know as the Upside Down.
Yeah.
In fact, that machine at the very beginning of the movie, that battery, that electric magnet, I don't know math or science, just so you know. So the laser thing that tries to open up the portal, lasers, reminded me a lot of, have you ever seen Howard the Duck? Again, this is another 80s movie. It's terrible. But Howard the Duck is a movie from the 1980s that also included interdimensional time travel with creatures with lots of heads and things. And it looked a lot like the machine that was used to open up the interdimensional time portal in Howard the Duck. So I don't know if that was intentional, but it looked very much. Yes. What's that actor's name? He's really good. He was in Shawshank Redemption. He played Andy Dufresne. Why is his name escaping me? Anyway, he was in Howard the Duck. It'll come to me.
Yeah, when that thing exploded and all those guys got...
Oh, there's a lot of exploding rats and bodies.
Yeah, lots
it's
of
a
gross
lot
stuff.
Gorier than the last 2 seasons. Like
and
every season they up the
too.
ante a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
It's creepier. Like there are some like very creepy scenes.
Well, I would say so the overall to me right now it feels like there's a lot of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Stepford Wives, The Blob, even the thing a little bit where there's like so in this season the Upside Down is kind of trying to spread itself to a lot of people and not just one person. They're kind of taking over people's bodies, a bit like The Thing or even Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And yes, the Russians are trying to open up some kind of portal. So like now the big kind of, instead of Hawkins Lab being the big bad, it's like the Russians, which was a big thing that people did in the 80s, which ironically is also very timely.
Timely for now.
So apparently the Russians still the bad guys.
Yeah.
As we found out.
Yeah. I also wanted to say that, what's his name? Steve. Now works at the mall. He works
Scoops Ahoy?
Chips Ahoy?
No, Chips Ahoy is the cookie. I believe it's Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy.
He has to dress like a sailor.
Yes, with a sailor, like a child's costume.
Yeah, it's a little upsetting.
Sailor. And he's working with a woman.
And his hair is covered up, so he can't use his magical hair powers.
Which
I
love her.
I love her. First of all, I feel like we have to talk about this.
Yes.
The women in this show.
Killing it. And the writing of the women.
So much better.
Excellent.
So much better. So like I really enjoyed the last season. I enjoyed the second season. It had some flaws. I think one of the most glaring flaws was that it seemed like it didn't really know what to do with female characters or how they could speak to one another. And like even Max, who was like this cool character that they set up who was like skateboarding and like she just still turned out to be that like version of like where it's like a man writing a woman. Although there's a woman on the staff who I wrote a lot of her episodes, but conceptually, like what she turned out to be was just like cool girl who rides a skateboard that the boys like, and she was like there to drive a wedge in their friendship. And I was really disappointed because the way she was set up in the first episode she's introduced in season 2 was like she's interesting and cool and kind of like withdrawn, and she's got this fucked up relationship with her family, and her stepbrother is a dick, and like I just wanted to know more about her, and we never really got any of that.
I feel like we are getting a lot of good stuff with Max this time.
Yes, Max and 11. Well, I guess we can't really get there yet, but like I just want to say generally, as before we get into the episode, as we're getting into the episodes, I feel like the female characters in the show, there's like 11 and Max, and I don't remember Maya, name? Emma. I think it's Emma, maybe.
Emma? Okay.
Who works at Chips Ahoy or Scoops Ahoy or Ice Cream Ahoy. She's great. The little girl, Erica, who's Lucas's sister, who's an Atlanta actor, who really stood out last season. They gave her a lot more to do. There's a lot more scenes between women, and a lot. It's just like I'm happy to see it.
And Nancy is totally like ballsy and goes on like she becomes like a quote unquote Nancy Drew and like investigates the story and like isn't believed, and the guys at her office are like jerks. And
oh god, I feel this storyline. It's like too real, honestly. It's like every woman trying to break into any kind of man's world or whatever. But yeah, and her storyline isn't defined by her like liking Steve or not liking Steve, or liking Jonathan or not liking Jonathan. Like she's got a lot more going on this season, so I'm really happy to see that.
There was a really great scene. I don't even know what episode this is in, but between her and her mom.
Yes, that's in episode 4.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
All right, so let's go through. Anything else to say generally, or did you have when you want to name off some people that worked who made this thing? Not that people don't already know. I'm sure you know, Matt.
Okay, well, Matt Duffer and Ross Duffer are the two creators
Duffer brothers.
And showrunners. And it's directed. I mean, like there are actually there are only 6 directors. So it's the two of them, Sean Levy, Andrew Stanton, Uda Breswitz, and Rebecca Thomas.
Okay.
So yeah.
So first episode. I think it's really hard to talk about anything to do with this season and not talk about Billy.
Oh my god. He's a much more crucial character in this season.
Hats off to Stranger Things, like the showrunners or whoever made this decision to look at this actor who they had last season, who had a relatively small part. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was still a recurring character. But he was so interesting every time he came on screen, and they were like, this guy's fucking interesting as hell, and he's intense and kind of scary and weirdly hot. Why am I so how does he make that mullet look so good?
He like mullets were made for him and him alone. Like,
and I like him better with the mullet.
I like him better with the mullet. Like he should wear that mullet at all times, shirtless.
I thought Kurt Russell's mullet in Overboard was steamy, but it has nothing on this mullet.
This mullet
goes the distance, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like his character is kind of icky.
Yeah.
And I can't get enough of him. Like he is hot and intense and weird, and I like it. And I like his weird mustache. His weird on not fully grown in mustache. He's a great actor.
He's fun, yeah.
And they gave him a lot more to do this season.
Yes, he's
kind of the
ringleader. He was the first one to get sucked.
Infected or whatever.
Sorry.
Huh?
He's the first one to get sucked, is what I said.
Sucked. Yes. Let's talk about that. So the Upside Down, which I believe they're calling is the Mind Flayer.
Yes.
The Mind Flayer. So we only saw it before in the Upside Down as like a shadow, which was like not very scary. Again, a little bit of a criticism of season 2. I don't feel like the big bad was as strong last year. It was almost like a continuation of season 1, so it didn't feel quite as serious a threat. Whereas this season, it's like The monster's on this side. It's like this fleshy, gross spider-looking thing. There's rats everywhere. The rats are going nuts. They're eating fertilizer. They're exploding. Billy gets trapped in this warehouse with it, and it like has this suction hand that sucks on your face and like injects itself into you or something. Yeah. And it's real gross.
Very gross. Very graphic and like intense.
Yeah. And it changes him into like a doppelganger thing. Like it's like season 2 where Will is like kind of has the monster inside of him, but now it's like implanting itself in other people, and Billy's kind of like the first one.
Yeah.
And it's so you've taken this character who's already kind of intense and scary, and like we don't really like him. I mean, we like him in the sense that we like watching him.
Yeah.
And he's hot.
Yeah.
Did we mention he's hot? But we don't. He's not like one of the good guys.
No.
And there doesn't appear to be anything in any attempt to redeem him whatsoever.
No.
But this season, so he's like working at. So another thing they're introducing in the first episode is that it's summertime, right? We haven't really mentioned that. It's summertime, and everybody's kind of coming back together in the first episode.
Around the 4th of July.
Everybody's paired off. Mm-hmm. Except for Will.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So Steve and...
Well, Steve doesn't have anybody.
No. Steve and, what's his face?
Oh, Dustin. Him and Dustin are kind of a team, they're not like paired off as a couple.
Oh, you meant a couple.
Like Max and Lucas are together. 11 and Mike are paired off, and they are just like nonstop making out. Just making out. Oh my gosh,
the storyline drove me crazy because of Hopper. Like he gets too involved.
I thought it was hilarious. I love the scene in the first episode where Mike and 11 are like making out, and she's like shut the door with her mind, and like Hopper is just steaming mad. Like he's so pissed off, and he goes to Joyce to find out like how he can fix this, and she's like, well, you need to talk to them, and like he ends up threatening him, and basically.
And then Mike screws things up with 11 and like lies to her, and she like knows he's lying, and breaks up with him. And
well, let's backtrack.
Sorry.
No. So it's summertime.
Yes,
everybody's making out except for Dustin. Dustin met a girl at camp, but at this point, we don't even know if she's real or not.
I think she's real.
You think she's real?
I think she's real.
You don't think he's made it? I mean, he did spend a long time in that field trying to call her, which is like a very long time to spend on a ruse.
I think she'll show up in the last episode and save the day. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Then like a Deus Machina kind of situation. 11 and Mike are making out. Will doesn't have anybody. I feel bad for him. Honestly, I think the thing that I feel most bad for him is that fucking hair.
Hair. Yes, the hair, the bowl cut.
The hair.
His hair hasn't changed.
It somehow gets weirder it's like a Dutch boy haircut.
Older, yes. Now, I have seen little things online, like when I can't scroll fast enough, that there are theories that he's gay.
Which I think is a bit, I feel like the reason for that may be because when they have that argument in a couple episodes from now, when he wants to do the campaign, and they say it's not our fault you don't like girls.
Yeah.
And I think it would be good to see some differences being represented there. But I also feel like Will can't relate to the other kids because he's had this really traumatic experience. And I think he's, in a way, this season is about him trying to be okay with growing up. Like, I think that I think him growing up has been a little stunted by these traumatic experience that he's had, and he's not able to move on from it.
I also think it would be interesting, and it is a true thing, that like I was this way. Like I was just like not sexually like aware, or like I like was very very slow to come to that. And when my friends, like when I was like 13, 14, 15, 16, were like starting to get involved in that stuff, I was very like put off by that and very like, ugh. And so perhaps
Yeah,
that
he
could be
seems
him.
not interested.
And maybe he's not gay. Maybe he's just like slow to develop that way.
But yeah, I mean, either way, like he doesn't appear to have an interest in either gender at this moment, and maybe it will turn out that he just isn't. You know, maybe he is not interested in girls, and I think it would be good to see something less heteronormative represented on the show. But I definitely think that it feels to me like the storyline is Will wants things to be like they were before. And it's not that he doesn't like the girls being there, but he wants to keep playing this D&D game, and he wants to have his comic books, and he's just like, he's not ready to move on from that stuff.
Because
he
honestly, missed a year.
Have you ever been to Dragon Con? Well,
he
was gone for like, I don't know. I want to say it was a couple months, but still, that's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
But Will, good news. I don't know if you've ever been to Dragon Con in Atlanta, but you don't have to grow up. You can play D&D and dress up as a wizard as long as you fucking want to. Of course, he's going to have to wait at least 20 or 30 years before that's cool.
30 years?
Well, wait. This takes place in 85.
I see what you're saying. I thought
when it was not cool.
I thought you meant he'd have to wait till he was in his 40s.
Well, yeah, because being a nerd was up until recently not cool.
Yeah, now it's
and now
cool
everybody's like, nerds are cool.
Nerds are sexy.
Nerds are sexy. Mullets are sexy. By the way, shout out to at Gretchen Makes Wigs, at Gretchen Makes Wigs on Instagram, who we follow on Instagram because she makes a lot of the wigs for Stranger Things. And she posts videos of her making wigs, and it's painstaking and
wigs that
super
you don't
interesting.
even know they're wigs.
Yeah, we were looking through the Instagram, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that was a wig.
Yeah.
But of all the wigs that she's been making for this show, I think perhaps her crowning achievement is Billy's mullet.
Oh, yes, Billy. You know, I wish he could grow that hair himself and just always wear that hair.
But isn't it good to know that he doesn't? Like, because that means that mullet could
go onto someone else's head.
It could go onto anyone's head.
True.
Okay, so the first episode, I guess if we're trying to like get our way through it, is a lot of setup.
Yes.
Everybody's coming back from summer. They introduced the mall, which I don't remember exactly where. I want to say it was maybe the Mall of Georgia, but it is a real mall.
Gwinnett Place Mall.
Gwinnett Place Mall. I've been to that mall. Mm-hmm. Gwinnett Place Mall, which stood in for the Star Court Mall.
And they set it up completely to look like it looks
from
like
the 80s. Fucking
and
80s.
They use Gwinnett Place Mall for a lot of film shoots. And my dad actually told me that they have like a wing that's like 80s, a wing that's like not 90s, a wing that's like 2000s.
Can you go walk around there? Because I'd love to.
I think so.
Take a trip back into the 80s. That sounds fun.
Yeah, no, this looks like a legit mall from the 80s. Like, it looks so cool.
It definitely reminds me, and now I grew up in the 80s. I don't know if you're just joining us, you may not have heard me say this 1,000 times.
62 years old. I'm just kidding.
It feels like that sometimes. I grew up in the 80s, so I did spend a lot of time in malls, like where your parents would like take you to the mall to get something, and you'd have dinner at the food court. And
dinner at the food court.
God. Maybe you'd catch, maybe go see Back to the Future Part 2 while you were there, because there was usually a movie theater in the mall. Which there is at this mall, too. They go and see Day of the Dead, which I think is your first indication that there's some kind of zombie horde coming. And that the mall's probably going to get fucking destroyed. I mean, it's not by the end of episode 2, but I assume, and of course you can see this a bit in the trailers, but I assume that the finale of the show is going to take place at the mall, and that mall is going to get fucking wrecked.
Oh,
that's
nice,
what I imagine. That's what's going to happen.
Also, I will say...
Well, Day of the Dead takes place in a mall. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, Day of the Dead. No, I'm sorry. That's Dawn of the Dead. Night of the Living Dead is the first one. Dawn of the Dead takes place in a mall. Sorry.
Okay.
Day of the Dead is the one that came after. But still, a George Romero zombie movie does make you think about the movie that took place entirely in a mall, which is Dawn of the Dead.
So this mall is filled with people, like so many people.
Tons.
And I go to the mall now to like get something that like
It's because nobody goes to malls anymore.
there's like no one in the mall.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. No one goes to those malls anymore. But let's face it, Pond City Market and Krog Street Market are basically bougie malls.
Yes.
Pond City Market is a bougie mall.
Yes.
And I've spent a lot of time at Pond City Market, so.
Yeah. For sure.
It's just a bougie boutique mall. It's not, people don't need to go to a place to get, they don't need to go to a place to get like chain style clothes. Like they don't, like you can buy Old Navy clothes online. You can buy like Amazon has destroyed the need for chain stores basically. So if you're going to go walk around and eat a fucking Jack and Coke Slurpee, you're going to do it surrounded by weird bougie shit that you cannot get on Amazon.
And $35 macarons.
They're delicious though.
Very delicious. Oh my God. Oh, I'm not eating sugar and I want some.
Oh,
anyway,
I'm so sorry. Maybe you can come up with a non-sugar recipe. Your dad can make you some non-sugar macarons.
I don't know.
Okay, so it's summertime.
Yes. They're at a
I feel
pool.
like we're never going to get... Maybe we're just going to jump around. I don't even know if we're going to...
Because we can't remember which episode is which.
It's true. We're still towards the beginning, though. I feel like we have to talk about the pool.
Yes.
So it's summertime. They're at the pool a lot. Billy is a lifeguard at the pool.
And everyone can't wait for... Oh, I'm sorry, not everyone. The moms...
Oh, yeah, the suburban moms.
The suburban moms can't wait for him to get on duty.
And he is definitely taking his pick of the suburban moms. He tries to make a date with Billy's mom. That's how he ends up out that night at the warehouse in the first place.
Yes, that's so fun, funny. And she like...
I'm sorry, did I say Billy? Mike's mom. It's Mike's mom. Because it would be weird if he made a date with his own mom. Ew. This is not a Roman Polanski movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, but like he's very flirtatious with her and they set a date and that's the night when he gets sucked by the creature.
And not in a way that I would like.
Yeah, no.
I didn't care for it. It doesn't sound as appealing as you would think.
Yes.
I want to mention that the place where the monster lives, I believe, is the Pullum Yard, which is over in Kirkwood. It's that sort of abandoned warehouse space that is unfortunately they're not going to tear it down, but they're going to rehab it. There's actually a movie studio moving in there. But it's right over in Kirkwood, and I recognized it immediately.
We're near there right now, aren't we?
We're not too far. My house is a lot closer to it, but yeah.
Let's go there tonight. I'm just kidding.
You can't get in because they use it for movies all the time. But it is that land has been purchased and is a while ago and is being developed by a movie studio. Someone from LA, not somebody who lives here, but they're moving here because, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as the jobs stay here, I guess.
Yeah.
I would love to see some Atlanta people buying up some of these spaces and making studios, but okay. So, let's talk a little bit about Joyce.
Joyce, yes.
Joyce Byer. She still
misses...
Yeah.
What's his name?
Bob.
I was supposed to say
Newby.
Sam.
Samwise Gamgee.
Yes.
She's having trouble recovering from Bob's incredibly gory death from season 2, as we all are. I still feel a little sad about Bob.
Yes.
But so Hopper seems like he's like trying to get her to, like he's been trying to get her to go out on a date, and she's just like can't open her heart to that. And I get it. I really get it. That scene where she like makes the meal for one and like sits, I'm like getting sad. Just like I'm getting a little emotional. She makes this like lasagna for one and sits on her couch and watches Cheers. And then we have like a flashback where we get just a little bit of Bob. So it was nice to see Sean Astin back for one scene. We get a little Bob. It's so sad. Yeah. Like Joyce has really been fucked up by this town.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Should Joyce move? Because they make it clear that she's thinking about selling the house. She's fixing it up. Should Joyce move out of this fucking town?
I think when Hopper's response to that would be, and he did say this, like, you have people who know what you went through here, who support you, who, like, understand you, who are here. And if you move away, you will still be going through that trauma, but no one will know what you're talking about or will want to listen to you. Or
I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it seems like Hawkins is basically positioned just like on the edge of Satan's asshole. And maybe everyone should move.
I would say everyone should move.
Like, this town needs to be shut down.
Everyone should move, yes. Joyce should not move away from them, is what I think.
My husband's opinion was that Joyce needs to get the fuck out. He's like, she needs to get out right now.
Well, the thing is that no matter where you go, there you are, as they say.
Sure.
You can't take bad things... Oh, you can't leave bad things behind when you go somewhere.
That's true.
They're always inside.
Oh, that's so sad.
What are you doing here?
Shopping. This is her new style. What do you think?
What's wrong with you? You know she's not allowed to be here.
What is she, your little pet? Yeah. Am I your pet?
What? No.
And why do you treat me like garbage?
What?
You said Nana was sick.
She is. She is. She is sick.
Yeah,
she's sick.
She's sick. She's super sick. That's why we're here, actually.
Yeah, we're shopping. Not for us, but for her, for Nana.
For Nana.
Also, we're here to get a gift for you. We couldn't find anything that suited you, and I only have like $3.50, so it's hard.
Super hard. It's expensive.
You lie. I dump your ass.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap up our discussion on Stranger Things for today. Again, I don't know where the stopping point for this discussion is going to be, but I am sure that we got through some really important mullets.
Some really important mullets.
Some really important mullets. Some really important mullet points.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I went there. Sarah, I've enjoyed talking about this show with you.
Yes, I do too.
I love this show.
I adore it.
I don't think we said this in the episode, so I want to say it now. Or this is the episode. Welcome to the episode. I don't know what I'm saying. We didn't say it in this prior part that we recorded, but I really feel like season 2 was enjoyable, but not as strong as season 1.
Yes, I agree.
And I really feel like season 3 is bringing it.
Bringing
it. Bringing the funk. Bringing the neon outfits. I'm loving it. So come back and join us so we can keep this conversation going. Of course, you can follow our production company, Critical Crop Top Media, which produces this podcast, as well as short films, web series, sketch comedy, you name it. You can find us. We've got a Vimeo channel. We got a YouTube channel. And you can follow us on social media at Critical Crop Top on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow this podcast that you are listening to with your ears right now. You can follow this podcast, the Georgia Made Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook at Georgia Made Podcast, and you can follow us on Twitter at Georgia Made Pod. Hey, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Am I speaking to Sarah or your doppelganger right now?
I'm the.
You were thinking about the mullet.
Flare.
You were thinking about the mullet, weren't you? You were just replaying that pool scene in your head over and over and over again.
Oh, God.
Just perpetually on a loop.
I'm just sad that... No, that's kind of gross.
What?
No, I'm just sad that we didn't get to see the hookup scene between Billy and what's-his-face's mom.
You know, I'm glad they didn't hook up because she came downstairs and she saw her weird old husband, dad, snuggling with the kid. Both of those are Atlanta actors, by the way, the husband and the kid, who's played by twins. She saw them snuggling and she just couldn't do it. Like, she had the hot jumpsuit on, she had the hair all big,
her
and
makeup.
She was just she was like, you know what? I love this weird old, pasty man that I married, and I'm gonna stick it out.
Yep. Well, I wish that I could have been there to take her place at least and save him from being sucked.
I can see you swinging in on a vine of some kind and just like picking him up and carrying him to safety.
Yes.
I hope that they work that in later in the episodes we haven't seen yet. I'll be like,
What
oh my God, I didn't know Sarah was in
Who do you
this.
think they would have sucked if it hadn't been him?
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Whoa. Are we still talking about this same show?
Yes. I'm saying, who do you think if they hadn't gotten him?
If they hadn't what?
If they
who do they think they
if
would
the
have?
monster hadn't gotten to him first, who would have been the first person if it hadn't been him?
Wow, you're asking me to speculate on who would have been. I mean, the mayor would have been a good doppelganger, I think.
Yes.
Although he's like kind of all evil already.
That's true.
What if they had gotten Hopper?
I was just thinking Hopper.
Would anybody be able to tell this difference? I mean, he's always kind of sweaty.
Yes.
So it really would seem like just normal Hopper
he's
behavior.
always drunk.
This and more you can expect in the next episode. So come back and join us. Fam, it's been fun. Talk to us. Talk to us on social media. Tweet at us. Tell us what you thought about Stranger Things 3. What are your theories?
Yes.
Do you like malls?
Do you like
Is Ponce City Market basically one big mall?
mullets?
What do you think? Mullets? Malls. We want to know about it. Okay, Sarah, I think it's time to go put on our pajamas and watch Stranger Things and have a sleepover.
Uber Eats.
And have a sleepover.
Yeah.
Well, not really, because we're
not
adults.
Really. We're adults.